Hey everybody, it's your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama by way of little old Glassboro, New Jersey. You know it right here on BLAXITradio.com, baby. And, you know, just like on a lot of other days, I ain't got time to sit and chit chat and smile with y'all because we got too much to cover today, okay? We got too much to cover. We got too much work to do. Okay, so, you know, the healthcare situation, as far as being a Black expat or expat in general, is kind of sticky. And it's something that, you know, most people that I speak to, the folk that fool with me typically is like 40 and up. You know what I'm saying? So the 40 and up crowd, they always want to know, where the hospital? How can I get my care? You know, how can I, and then they also want to know, like, how can I get home, you know, to my kids, you know, in case there's something happens there. And I'm thinking to myself, Panama is not that far from the US, but more than likely your kids gonna be coming to check on your old behind, okay? But what I wanted to do was to get some people together and talk about their experiences with the healthcare system in Panama. So we're going to introduce today, we have 4 Black expats in Panama, and we have 2 medical professionals in Panama to share their stories and information with you. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. We're going to introduce the Black expats. You know, some of them you will know. And then we will introduce the professionals, and then we'll hop right into questions and get some of their personal stories. So how about we start with Aisha Niang? Tell me I got the last name right. You good? You hey, Aisha, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, you know, the abbreviated version of your becoming an expat in Panama.
Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Aisha. I am originally from New York City. I moved here from Houston, Texas, where I quit my job as a water utility director. I was able to get my Panamanian residency about a year ago, and I just moved here August 22nd. I'm so excited. I am 47 years old. I do not have any kids, but I have 2 cats that feel like kids and one that feels like a dog. My residency process to come here was relatively easy, and it just took me a year to get myself together personally and professionally to be able to make the move. So right now I am on a sabbatical and I'm just trying to figure out how to keep it that way.
I know that's right. It feels good, doesn't it?
It feels great. It feels great.
And I also forgot to say, please, if you represent a business or YouTube channel or whatever, please feel free to share that with us. So okay. Everybody knows you because
I have a YouTube channel. It's called Abroadability, and I chronicle my journey towards becoming an expat here in Panama with a mobility constraint of cerebral palsy. And I also highlight my travels from around the world.
Thank you. Thank you. She has an amazing channel, and she's so funny, and she's so smart, and she's so pretty to be a water technician?
I'm a wastewater engineer.
Lord of mercy. You is entirely too pretty to be a wastewater engineer. I'm glad you came on over to Panama.
Thank you. And too snooty too.
Okay, next we have Annette Poole. Unmute yourself, Annette.
There you go.
There
okay.
You go.
Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you doing today?
Awesome.
Great, great. Well, my name is Annette Poole, and I am originally from Chicago by way of Atlanta, Georgia. I came to Panama on a just happenstance. I must give all my honor and glory to God because that's how I got here. I had no clue where I was going. Packing up boxes, mom and my daughter says, "Where are you going?" I said, "I have no idea, but I'm getting out of here." The cost of living was too high, and for me, my health care was important. So that was the reason, that was one of the main reasons why I came here. Yep, and I'm working on my citizenship as well, residency as well, excuse me. I have till December and December and January, they said, somewhere between there, I'll be able to get my permanent. And I'm really, really excited about that, to be a Panamanian resident.
So you got your provisional.
Yes, I do. I got that back in June.
Yes. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
You
Yep,
know,
they were very, very good. The attorney were very, very good.
awesome, awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you, Annette.
You're welcome, you're welcome.
And next we have William Easley. Hello, Mr. Easley.
Buenas tardes, hermana. ¿Cómo está?
Buenas tardes, hermano.
Everyone, my name is William Easley, but most people know me as Big Will.
Big Will, Big Will.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My wife and I came to Panama a year and a half ago, escaping the craziness of the United States, and left lives of living in DC, where I was a federal business development lead for defense contractors, and she was a contractor. And now we remote work. I'm a consultant. She's still doing similar work that she was doing back in DC. And I'm also a content creator. I have a YouTube channel called Big Will TV, which features a television show called The BLAXIT Movement, which chronicles our move to Panama and all about the life of an expat and what it takes to be able to affect the BLAXIT. So we're happy to be here. And I've also had some experience with the healthcare system here in Panama. So.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. And now we have Claudia Maloney.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Claudia.
Hi, my name is Claudia Maloney. I am originally from Guyana, South America, by way of Atlanta. Moved to Panama, was there in Panama for 16 months, and had to abruptly move back to Atlanta, Georgia, because of some medical issues that my one and only birth daughter had in Panama. I am 58 years old, totally love Panama. Panama is in my heart, will always be. And, you know, it's been a great journey in Panama for me. Great journey, great journey.
Well, it'll always be home, and you will always have, us to come back to.
Absolutely.
Never, it's like
Absolutely.
the friendships and the relationships that you build along the way. Yeah. Amen.
Yeah.
There you go. Are just they don't go away. They don't go away. No
No.
matter where you are in the world, you'll still be in our hearts, So I'm glad that you were able to get on the call with us today, because when I decided to do this roundtable, you were one of the first people that I thought of. So thank you for being with us, Claudia.
Thank you.
Okay, so now
I'll be there
we will
tomorrow.
move on to the professionals, and I'm going to introduce Mr. Mike Kelly. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Charlotte. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on. So my name is Mike Kelly. I have lived in Panama for about 10 years. I met my wife, who is Panamanian, in California, where I'm from, and she wanted to come back to Panama, and I followed her back without any arguments. So I've been here for 10 years and have no plans on returning. I love it here. I'm the general manager and owner of Panamerica Medical Center in Panama Pacifico and of Expat Health Services. Panamerica Medical Center is a primary care and urgent care medical clinic, and we have general physicians full-time, nurses, we have a lab, pharmacy, and we can take care of all your primary care needs. And Expat Health Services, which is more of we're a team of general physicians, 100% bilingual in English. We do home consultations, telemed consultations, services that really just make it more convenient for expats to get their medical services that they need in Panama, especially if you don't speak any Spanish. So we try to make that transition a lot easier. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And the whole Spanish English, barrier or just say hurdle a little bit is so important when it comes to healthcare. Alfredo had a health scare one night, and it was back before I became good at Spanish. That's a joke. But I was more nervous about trying to convey what was going on with him. And so it's these kind of things that happen when you're in a country that speaks another language that you need to be prepared for, So thank you very much for being here, Mike, and thank you for sharing. And then last but not least, the amazing Dr. Duncan. Hi, Dr. D.
Hello. Sounds like the amazing Spider-Man for some reason. Anyhow.
Amazing Dr. D. Tell us,
So excited to be
introduce
here.
yourself.
Well, my name is Ricardo Duncan. Been working with Mike in his clinic. Next year is going to be our 10th anniversary. We opened in 2013, so
Wow.
next year is a big year. Nice things. And we just continue providing the best service we can provide. Continue figuring out ways how we can make expats and foreigners life easier. Via, it would be a telemed, house calls at the clinic. And not only do we have the lab, but we can go to your house and do lab work. We have specialists, most of them bilingual as well. So it's a very complete clinic. Besides doing the medical service domicilio at your house, we also provide like medications to your house, and so we are figuring out ways every other day to make you get your experience easier.
Well, thank you. I just want to say that Mike and Dr. Duncan are like great supporters of Black expats in Panama. They come and they greet the tour members when they come. They answer questions. Mike really helped us out when we had a COVID situation, in the group. And Dr. Duncan is, makes himself available for our guests, while they're here. And if they need a house call or a telecall or something like that, it's so comforting for our guests to meet them in person because, God forbid you do have a medical emergency, then to be able to say, okay, I've met this guy, I know he's good because Charlotte wouldn't be fooling with him, and to just be able to reach out to them for the assistance. They go so far as like when we have people that are coming in or wanting to take our tours or just wanting information about relocating to Panama, we've had people I've had people call me and say, well, I really need to know if they have my medication in Panama and, what does that look like? And, to be able to have them to reach out to provide that solid information for, our clients and members, it just means a lot to us. So I just want to personally at this time say thank you. And I know I get on y'all nerves, but I get on everybody's nerves. But I really honestly want to say thank you. I appreciate all your assistance and support. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to vacillate back and forth a couple questions for the expats or, to answer, and then some professional questions for the team. So anybody can go first. I know that Annette said that your health was a major consideration when you decided to move to Panama. Let me just go to you real fast and ask why that was. Did you do research and find that you could be cared for in the way that you wanted to in Panama, or what was it that made you evaluate that?
Well, the information that I was given about Panama when I was told that I needed to go ahead and move here is I found out Johns Hopkins was here. And that was just amazing to me because by living in Atlanta, I have Emory, and Johns Hopkins was a step up. So I said, why not? And I knew that they were one of the top leaders of cancer research. And I wanted to know more about the issues that I have. And that's what brought me here. And thank God I was able to contact the right people at the right time. And it's been a great journey. It truly has.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. So that's good for people to know. People have a lot of faith in Johns Hopkins to know that he's here. Anybody else want to chime in about was a health a major consideration? Was your health a major consideration when you decided to move to Panama? No.
My daughter's health has always been a major consideration, and that is one of the reasons we moved from Coronado and moved to the city, because I wanted to be close to, some of the bigger hospitals in the city. When I did my research, I was told by another relocation company that we would more than likely be able to get insurance in Panama, but when I got there, then I realized we weren't able to get it. So
because of pre-existing condition.
Absolutely.
Okay. Will, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say it wasn't a major factor. We started doing research on Panama years before we actually came, and at that point we were thinking about retirement, so we knew healthcare was going to be a consideration when we were at the retirement age. And we learned early on that the infrastructure here is extremely sound and robust in that regard. So we had no concerns about the healthcare delivery or our access to it.
Okay. So go ahead, Aisha.
I just want to chime in. Although healthcare wasn't the deciding factor for me, because I have cerebral palsy, I'm not quite sure how people really age with it. So having affordable healthcare was important to me. And that was one of the items that Panama kind of checked off. But it's not like I have treatment or I'm on medication or anything for it right now, but it was part of the consideration.
So were you able to find out say if people get older with cerebral palsy and it becomes where it has to be, aggressively treated, were you able to get some kind of idea as to what that would look like in Panama compared to the US? Or you didn't go that far?
I didn't go that far. What I have done is I might need to increase the amount of exercise I do or physical therapy, and those costs are much cheaper here. So I have a personal trainer that I started with maybe 2 weeks ago, and it's $25 a session.
That's what's up. So not only that, let me just say this. Do you find that now that you're in Panama, you're just automatically more active? Do you find that?
No. So
you're lazy. You're lazy.
I have this balcony and view, and I just sit out here and I enjoy not doing anything. I am basking in the life of ease and not feeling like I have to do anything. And I'm just decompressing, and I think that's helping with my mental health.
Well, she don't want to lift the finger. Well, I know for myself, we're so busy as expats You know, Black expats, it's never a dull moment. There's never a time when you ain't got nothing to do. It's never a time when somebody's not inviting you to somewhere. So I think that even though, you know, I stay home a lot, but I still move around, I think, more than I did in the States. So, and I know Will, you do a lot. Will has lost like a significant amount of weight since he came here, looking all young and everything.
You like that? You like what I'm doing with that? You know, we live off of Avenida Balboa, right on the Sena Costera, and that was a huge, attractive feather in the cap for us moving from the beach to the city and being able to access that track and fitness. I mean, being able to get out there and walk. And now, you know, I'm starting to adopt the Panamanian ways. I walk in the rain now too. So it's all good. I'm gonna try to continue to lose this weight. And now that I've hooked up with Mike and Dr. Duncan, I can do so with somebody watching to make sure I'm not messing up.
That's right. You're hooked up with the right people now. So let me go to Mike and Dr. Duncan. And I want you to both answer this from your own perspectives, because Mike, you're more in the management side of things, and Dr. Duncan is, of course, hands-on. So tell me, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions people have from the US about Panama healthcare?
I would, there are a few misconceptions for sure. A couple of the biggest ones is that you hear that healthcare is less expensive in Panama, which it is. Some people kind of equate that to cheap and lower quality. But the truth is that, you know, even though it's less expensive, the quality is as good or better, in my opinion. We have great doctors, both GPs, general practitioners, and medical specialists. And more so than the United States, they take time to really personalize the experience, you know, get to know their patients. Here, you don't, you know, also in the United States, insurance is really kind of dictating the whole process. So here, you don't have that. The doctors aren't trying to get you in and out as fast as possible to get paid by their insurance provider. So that's a big misconception. Another one is that some people just assume that doctors don't speak English. You know, so that can be, you know, a big factor when you're trying to decide, okay, do I move down to Panama? I don't speak any Spanish. What, you know, especially if you need healthcare and you have maybe a chronic health condition and you need to have a doctor available, and they don't, you know, if you think that they don't speak English, that could be a problem. But the truth is that a lot of doctors speak fluent English. If not fluent, they speak very well, so that it's easy to communicate. So, and that's, you know, one of the things that we do with, you know, with our company and Expat Health is, you know, really focus on that part. But I would say that those are two of the bigger misconceptions moving to Panama. I'm not sure if you would all agree about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm intimidated just to call and make an appointment, because you're going to be scared that the person that answered the phone doesn't speak English. I know. Yeah. I feel like that sometimes, like, you know, get ready. You know, so let me ask you, Dr. D, how about you? I see you're in agreement with a lot of what Mike said.
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree on, especially on the quality of the services. I've had a lot of experience after seeing patients, and they are amazed. Like, wow, I thought being like a third world country, the system would be backwards, the information would be like up to date, but you guys are fully professional. And one thing that is different, I think, because of the way the medical experience is dealt with. Here, we can spend time with the patient. It's not like you have 3 or 5 minutes after that, it's in and out, like the burgers. No, it's, we deal with them, and you can spend some time, quality time with the patient. The more you can explain, and definitely hear what the patient is going through, better the service. And he can definitely see his part on the treatment. So quality of services and the time that we spend with the patient, I think that's key. That's definitely key.
Yeah, I think that coming from the United States, it's just hard to wrap your mind around it. And, wrap your mind around a doctor being willing to spend that much time with you, first of all, and being able to call your doctor, and actually get him on the phone is just like, what? Who are you? So I think
another,
that, huh?
I was just going to add on that. Another big thing is, you can call today for an appointment and see the doctor same day.
How about that?
And not only can you go to a clinic and sit down with a doctor the same day, but you can actually have a doctor go to your house the same day. You can have a doctor call you by video call the same day. So, I mean, these things are pretty much just unheard of in the United States. So, it's like you combine the good quality with that kind of service, and it really just, people are very surprised by it. And it's unexpected. So a lot of people come down there nervous about healthcare, but once they experience it, then it definitely puts their mind at ease.
I would say so. I have had a brief go ahead, Aisha.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'll go when you go.
No, you go.
I was just going to speak to what Mike said. I think a couple weeks after I moved here, I was having some stomach issues. And I was like trying Pepto-Bismol, and I was trying all these things. Like, it's not working. So I ended up calling Dr. Coates, which is part of their health service. And it might have been 3:30 on a Friday. And I was like, oh, I'll probably see them Monday. And they're like, no, we can come to your house. We'll be there at 7. I was like, come to my house on a Friday, like during rush hour? Like, it was like, I don't have to have an appointment. Like, it was baffling to me. And just the way that I was treated and the amount of time that he took and just the follow-up. Like, I left the country a couple of days later and just messaging me, how are you feeling? We're waiting on the test results, and just the follow-up, it just made me feel like human again, and not like I was a number in a system, like Mike said, trying to get you out for the insurance. So I'm now officially spoiled, where I just want people again just to come to the house.
Send someone now. I think it's a great option. It's a great option. And I think it's just something we find hard to relate to. Now, I'll just say briefly, praise God, I have not had any, major medical experiences in Panama. We have insurance here, but what the other thing I think will surprise people in the United States, that you're better off not using the insurance, because the price to see a doctor is not nearly what you expect, and I still don't understand how that all happens. But I know that I was sick for a few days, and honestly, it was February of 2020. It was like a week before I went home for the last time ever from Panama for like 9 months, because COVID hit. So you can't tell me I didn't have COVID. But I have been to the I can't think of it now, but it was a big festival, and I got sick, and I was sick for like a few days, and I'm like, okay, I need to go to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, he thought I had eaten something at the festival, and I knew that for me, when my body eats something bad, you're not talking 2-3 days later. You're talking immediate rejection. Bam, that's it. My body rejects bad stuff. Thank God, right away. So I kind of felt that it wasn't that, but at that point I was dehydrated, and he gave me some prescription for the nausea. I think he gave me like a Pedialyte. I had to get Pedialyte, and one more thing that he gave me. And the doctor visit, the prescriptions, and the Pedialyte was like $53. And I couldn't believe it, because I could not have gone into a doctor's office. I could not have. I probably couldn't have got the prescriptions without an insurance card for less than that amount. And so that was my experience with the healthcare here, and the healthcare was quite sufficient. And the hospital that my husband goes to, they serve veterans quite a bit. very, very high tech, very high tech. So it's not like we're missing out on anything, anything there. So thank you. So let me just go ahead. Aisha, you talked about your experience with healthcare here. I'm going to go to Will, and then Annette. I'm sorry, Annette. Go ahead, darling. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted, I could probably do better than both of you, Aisha, and you as well. I needed a mammogram. Went in the same day and asked them if I could get a mammogram. They told me, yes, at 1:30. It was 11:30 then. I was like, at 1:30? He said, yes. I said, okay, well, I don't have insurance. He said, that's okay. I said, how much is it? He said, $36. I said, okay, set me up. What room do I go to?
A mammography?
A
mammogram?
A mammogram.
Wow.
$36. I was like, okay, I'm done. You talk about somebody spoiled. I'm through.
I've never had one without insurance. And the problem with us too is that when you have insurance, you don't evaluate the cost of things.
Yeah, well,
So
that's
I
true.
wonder how much, if you don't have insurance, to walk in anywhere in the United States and get that, you know. So anyway, so thank you for sharing. And I know that's just a small part of your story. So Bill, let me go to you.
So my healthcare, or my connection with the healthcare system here has thankfully been pretty minor. 53, I'm in what I think is relatively good health. I don't know, my doctor back home might want to argue with that, but I think I'm in pretty good health. I'm on some maintenance medications, but when we first moved here, I started having issues with my back and leg, and I thought that I was having sciatica, and they were sending me to get MRIs and stuff, and it really turned out to just be really bad furniture in the apartment that we were in. And I lived on a really bumpy road out in Coronado. So once we moved apartments, everything got fine. You know, the bed didn't have a dip in it anymore and all that good stuff. So I found some furniture, you know, big size guy furniture. But what I saw during that experience was a clinic that was state of the art to begin with. And as Dr. Duncan and Mike Kelly both said, the doctors that I met in Coronado all spoke English. The only time that there was any minor issue with the language barrier, and that's my issue because I came here not speaking their language, were with the technicians, because at one point in time I was getting injections for some of the pain, and the nurse laughed at me because I'm telling her that I'm learning Spanish and I know how to speak hotels, I know how to order food, I know how to ask for the bathroom, and she said, but you don't know medical, and laughed at me and turned around to take this shot. But my last, let me be frank, my last touch of the medical care system, the healthcare system here is just this morning with Mike Kelly and Dr. Duncan. So
you don't say.
Yes. So at 53 years old, as if I didn't have enough going on already, I decided to jump on a scooter on the Santa Costera, and yes, I took a fall and I landed on the shoulder and have been in pain ever since Thursday. The shoulder was already kind of messed up because I dislocated it, high school and college and all that good stuff. But anyway, I hit him up on the website. Next thing I know, Mike is hitting me messages on WhatsApp. I'm watching football and getting messages from Mike. He's confirming stuff with Dr. Duncan this morning. Dr. Duncan calls me, you know, we're chatting for 20, 30 minutes. It wasn't rushed. He was, you know, taking time to get to know me and establish some rapport. And I absolutely loved it. And then the technology side of it that I'm amazed about as an American is that when it was over with, he shot me my prescriptions on WhatsApp. So now I'm at, you know, I went to the grocery store, stopped at the pharmacy and just showed the girl thing. And it's feeling really good. It's feeling the best I've felt since Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a good story. That is a good story, and I'm glad to see that they're taking such good care of the Black expats. But when Will sent me a picture of a scooter, and I said, I know your fool ass ain't get on no scooter.
I've been placed on punishment. No worries.
Wow.
That's
So I'm
over now.
glad you feeling better, Will.
I am feeling so much better today. Yeah, I'm telling you, this is the best I've felt since Thursday. I've been
Wow.
dealing with it. I mean, trying to tough it out, but you know, I'm not saying I'm ready to go out and play golf or anything.
I
But I do feel good.
want you to gift that scooter.
Are you
Yes.
getting back on the scooter?
Hell no.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad that you're feeling better. So okay, so Claudia, I kind of Claudia, let's talk about your situation. It's complex.
Very complex. So my daughter has cerebral palsy with hydrocephalus. So in May, Gabriella got up and she says, you know, Mom, my head hurts a little bit, type of deal. And, you know, we're like, okay, you know, kind of let's play it by ear to see if it's a headache or what's going on. And the headache kind of progressed. And, you know, we know that those are some of the symptoms of hydrocephalus. So we decided to take her to the emergency room, the Panama clinic.
Can I just ask you, what is hydrocephalus?
So Gabby was a former preemie,
Mm-hmm.
and at birth, her ventricles got damaged, and her ventricles is in her brain. So she has what's called a shunt that drains the fluid off of her brain into her heart, which kind of observes in her body. So we took her to the Panama clinic, and just as we suspected, her ventricles were enlarged. So usually when it's draining properly and you look at it, you really just see an outline of her brain and you'll see the ventricles in there. But when it's enlarged, it's these big black spaces you'll see in her brain. So that's what we saw. So the doctor actually was in the US when we took her to the Panama clinic. He actually called in some medication to slow the fluid from building up, which we never even knew that existed in the US. So we took her in, I think, a Friday, and his flights kept getting canceled. He didn't get back to Panama until Sunday. And usually in the US, by that time, it's a catastrophe. Her headaches are so bad, they had to give her fentanyl one time here in the US. But because of the medication he called in, she was able to go the weekend and was comfortable. We played cards and she was fine. He came in that Sunday and we met him that same Sunday that he got into Panama. He saw her, he saw the scans, and he prepared everything for surgery that Monday. Urgent surgery with no insurance. It cost us about just $26,000 and some.
Wow.
To get it done.
Which is probably not a lot compared to what it would cost in the US, but nevertheless, that's a grip. And that's what people need to know, that when something major happens, you know, even though it may not be as much as the US, it's still significant.
It's still significant. And the thing about it is, with her condition, you never know when this can happen. So that happened in May. We went to Portugal in September, came back on I don't remember what date, everything is a blur now, but let's say we came back on October the 2nd. The 3rd, headaches again, rushed her back to the Panama clinic. The shunt malfunctioned again.
Wow.
So here we go
That's
again.
after the $26,000 surgery.
Here we go again,
Mhm.
another 20 something thousand. Okay,
Mhm.
so she came home. She woke up maybe 3 days later. She says, Mom, I feel like something is dripping in my head or something. So I looked at her head, and you know, when you sleep and you had a good sleep and you kind of drool, get a little stuff on your face.
Yeah.
I saw that on the back of her head, and I'm like, I think something is leaking, but I couldn't see where it was leaking from. So we let the doctor know what was going on. He was like, okay, go on, take her back over. Took her back to the emergency room. Now, every time we go to the emergency room, we looking at $500-600. Okay.
Mm.
Took her back. He admitted her. He was like, we'll admit her and give her antibiotics. That was another 8,000 and change.
For the hospital stay.
Right, for 8
So-
days.
8 days.
Okay, so we got home. 2 days later, I can't wake her up. Gabby, yes, Mom. Come on, you got to get up. Okay, she fell back to sleep. Woke her up again, and it just kept continuing. And I'm like, okay, something is going on. So I got her up and I said, hey, you need to go take a shower, because it was her friend's birthday. I'm like, you got this birthday party to go to. And when she got up and sat up, she says, Mom, my head feels really big. I'm like, okay, this is not good. So she took her shower and she came back, and we got her together. And in the meanwhile, I was texting the doctor, letting him know what was going on. Took her back. It malfunctioned again. So they had to go back in. So she had 3 brain surgeries and 1 hospital stay. So I think a total of $60-something thousand we spent. And with that, the surgeon did not take a fee. None of the staff took a fee on the last surgery.
So, okay, so now there's a difference right there that stands out to me as far as the US and Panama. Because in the US, you know, I think by the second time, we would be talking malpractice. We would be talking some kind of medical liability here. So there was no, even though, the shunt, she had the shunt in her head for how long before it malfunctioned here?
3 years.
3 years. So in 3 years, she had shunts that functioned well. And then she had problems when you got here. And in a span of, I guess, a couple of weeks, she went through 3 shunts. You know, that had to be traumatic for her as far as the surgery. And then as far as the financial burden. And then nobody was responsible. There was no recourse for you.
The thing about it is, I don't think it had anything to do with the surgeon per se. I just think when he did the first surgery, and it can happen, he was explaining to us where the tubing is located, is in the heart. And he was explaining, depending on what the body does, there's tissue that floats around in your body that can be trapped in the catheter. That's what he explained to us. So that's what happened the first time, because he brought it out and he showed it to us. The second time he went in, he didn't change out. There's a piece that she has right here. He didn't change that out the second time because it was functioning well. Okay. So, and I think in his defense, he was thinking it's functioning well. I'm not going to change it out, trying to save us money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he didn't change that out. But when they went ahead and glued her back together, it got damaged. You see?
Yeah,
So
'cause
then
they was
when he
probably
went back-
trying to fit it at that point with
Right,
another
so when
piece. Okay.
Right. So
Mm.
in his defense, I think he was looking at, my God, this family is spending all this money. So if this part is working, I'm not going to get rid of it.
Mhm.
In the US, they would have gotten rid of it because insurance is paying for it.
True,
You see what I'm saying?
true.
So I don't blame him by any
Mhm.
means for anything that was done. I just feel like it was unfortunate the way things happen. I
Mhm.
feel like he's a good surgeon. And would I put my daughter in his hands again if I had to? I would.
Mhm.
I would, because I feel that he's a great, great surgeon.
And I appreciate that. I guess the only thing for me, if just even from a customer service standpoint, I probably would have expected some, some reimbursement, some discount, something. That's an
Well, he
awful lot of
did.
money. So, okay, he did.
I didn't have to pay. I didn't pay, I
The
didn't have,
last one.
right. The
Okay,
last one he
okay, all
didn't-
right,
Yeah.
okay. Well, that's good. That's good to know. So, I mean, so you went back and forth a lot. So to bring it to a close, just tell us, how Gabby is doing now, and then also the steps that you had to take as a result of, and how old is Gabby?
Gabby's 24.
Gabby is 24. So I think the other thing that's interesting about your story is it wasn't the older person in the family that had the medical crisis. It was a younger person. So anything can happen. So we want to know how Gabby is doing. And then also, if you could just tell us the steps that you had to take in order to make sure that you could have her cared for medically.
So Gabby is doing well.
Mhm.
She just saw her new doctor here in Atlanta today, and
Mhm.
everything looks well. They're going to do some scans here in Georgia. They're going to do some scans here in Georgia for her.
Mhm.
As far as the steps we took medically for her in Panama,
No, I was alluding to the fact that you actually decided to leave Panama because of because you probably need to have the coverage.
I did. Yes. We decided to leave. Do you want to share anything on here?
Like what?
What your experience was with
Where?
in Panama with surgery?
Sure.
Okay.
Hello,
Hi, Gabby. How you doing, darling?
I'm good. How are you? Hi.
Oh, good. I'm glad to see you smiling and doing well.
Thank you.
You happy to be in Georgia?
That's 50-50.
That's 50-50. I know Panama's a great place to be, but I'm glad that you're feeling better. And like, how did you feel when all of this was happening in Panama? I just imagine that you were probably scared.
Well, the first time around I was scared, but I did have reassurance from my parents and the reassurance from my doctor. And the fact that he was able to pretty much break it down to all of us
Mhm.
and show us like my CT scans and show us what was really the issue and what was really the problem.
Mhm.
That kind of eased up my nerves a little bit.
Mhm.
But having my recent surgeries back to back, that was very traumatic for me.
Yes.
In a sense, I kind of say I have a little bit of PTSD
Mm.
from that, especially with the last surgery, not knowing what happened.
Mhm.
But I'm okay. I'm okay.
Well, you're here, and I think that probably has a lot to do with what the Panamanian doctors did to treat you.
Yes.
Even going
Yes.
back to the first time when they gave you the medication to kind of help slow down the swelling, and your mom said
Yes.
that was something that she wasn't aware of or
Yes.
made aware of in the United States. So, it just, I mean, things go the way that they go. But again, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you were able to get the care, and I'm glad that you are on your way to a full recovery.
Thank you.
So thank you, sweetie, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you, Claudia. So let me go to one more story. Annette, tell us about your experience here, and we have to shorten it a little bit. But tell us about your healthcare experience here in Panama.
Well, I'm a veteran, and I went to the VA prior to me moving to Panama in Atlanta. And they had diagnosed me with what you call MGUS, MGUS. Now, it's an acronym. Don't get me to lying, because all I know is mono something something. So, come to find out, everybody kept telling me, Annette, you need to go and get a second opinion. I had no clue how I was going to do that because I had just retired. So with that being said, fast forward, I moved here to Panama. I found out, did all the research about the hospitals and everything that they had. And I said, okay, let me try it. So I started getting in contact with the VA here, which contacted the cancer hospitals, the Hope Center, which is where I went to have my biopsy done. And my sister here was kind enough, because I was scared, because I had no family here other than my cousin, and he was working. And I said, well,
we're family, you know,
yes,
Black in Panama, we are family. And it was
yes,
an honor to go with you, Annette.
yes. Well, it could have been, it could have been no, you could have had a prior engagement or anything, you know.
I did. I had to leave a tour for your butt.
Well, I surely appreciate it. I appreciate it. So anyway, I end up getting this second biopsy, and the second biopsy actually came back with the same results as the one in Atlanta. So I was very, very, very pleased about that. Now, with these tests that I had to retake of everything that I took there, which was the PET test, a scan test, what was it? The bone marrow, PET, and I can't think of the other one, but there was 3 tests that I had to, a urine test, 24-hour urine. I did all 3 here, and I'd say I spent about $5,000 on everything.
Wow.
Now, I'm not sure what the bills look like in Atlanta, but I'm sure, for one thing, that they are truly higher than what I paid here.
Well,
and
you
I
had
paid
2 bone marrow treatments, or 2.
I had one here and I had one in the States.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I have to say, go ahead.
I actually have had 2 mammograms, one in the States and one here also. But they actually found something here, which I was kind of alarmed about. So I went on and I did that test. And like I said, $36, I couldn't have beat that. But the long story short, I must admit that everything that I have gone through here, as far as doctors, they have had more than an excellent bedside manner, the professionalism, the cost, just the greeting. I get my prescriptions mailed to me. I mean, they get delivered right here to the house, my front door. So I can't beat that. So when my neuropathy acts up and I can't go out walking or whatever, they come here to me. So I get the same things, but better service here than I did in the States. Yeah.
Well, that's an awesome awesome testimony. And even, you know, even with Claudia, who things went, you know, kind of rough, you know, with her, she still appreciated the medical care that she received. I can say that I was with Annette when she had that last bone marrow treatment or extraction, and I was scared, right? And so I was in there with her while the doctor talked to her, and he was just so thorough. He was just so thorough, you know, he just, you know, took his time explaining everything to her. And then I said, do I need to leave? And they said I had to go. So I said, sorry, girl. I gotta go. I was just out of there, okay? But when I came back to get her, when I came back into the room, because the procedure was done right in his office, they had
Mhm.
they had gospel music on.
Mhm.
And I was so impressed by that. So he had went and got his little speaker and asked her what does she want to hear to calm her, and I mean that kind of thing. Like, who does that, right? I mean, I can't imagine any doctor besides my good girlfriend who happened to be treating me, in the United States doing that for me. So I just think overall the care that you all have received is very good. So thank you for sharing that. Now let me hop over to the professionals real quick. So what advice do you give to people considering relocating to Panama with regard to the healthcare services? What advice do you give? Like, what should they do before they come?
I would say first thing, get set up with a general physician before you get to Panama. You can get on a call with a physician, discuss any medical issues, any conditions that you have, get set up. The important thing is that, we can start your medical file, figure out what treatments you're going to need, what your medications are, because when you get here, we can have your medications ready, so that when you need them on a monthly basis or a regular basis, we can have those ready for you. So I think that's why it's important and always a good idea to get hooked up with a physician before you get to Panama. And then when you get here, everything's already in motion as far as your medical care. And then, regarding insurance, make sure that you look into private insurance before you come, local insurance. Whether you can maintain what you have in the United States, or if you're going to have to take out a private insurance policy. And, what in some cases you might not be able to get insurance in Panama. So I think it's really important to know that before you get here, because sometimes, some people get here and start thinking about that stuff after they've already made the move. And then that makes it tough when maybe you have certain pre-existing conditions that prevent you from being able to get private insurance in Panama. So that can put a ding in your plans. So yeah, it's plan ahead with your healthcare. You can contact us, and you can get on a call with Dr. Duncan or any of our physicians and get all that set up, get everything moving before you get down here.
And okay, and let me ask you real quick about insurance. So in the US, you have the in network and out network providers. Do we have that here? And what policies or what insurances do you work with?
So at our clinic at Panamedica, we're providers for the major local insurance companies of Panama. So we got Pan American Life, PALIC, MAPFRE, Blue Cross, and ASA. And it depends on your specific insurance policy. If you have one of those, then based on your policy, you can use your benefits at our clinic. You might have an insurance company that we don't provide for. In that case, you would go pay out of pocket, and we can help provide the documentation so that you can get reimbursed. But there are a lot of different kinds of insurance policies you can get. So, whether it's, in or out of network, there are some insurance companies that will only cover you at certain hospitals. Or with certain doctors. In Panama, the specialists, the doctors, they can work at any hospital. But they're not confined to one hospital. They can move around depending on where you want your treatment or your care. I would say something else that's super important: get on the phone before you get here with a broker and look at some different options. Have a referred insurance broker present you some options that you can look at, so that you are not just looking at one thing, that you have various options and you can make the decision based on your specific situation. Because there are a few options, and you want to make sure that you pick the right one.
That's very good advice. And just for the record, we do have an insurance broker at our tours as well. That explains the different policies, the restrictions and things that you need to look out for all kinds of insurances. Dr. D, what say ye? You're on mute.
Yeah, the key is to ask questions.
Mm.
Ask all the questions that you can imagine, because you never know. Just questions about your insurance. Let the broker know about your health condition so he can pair the most effective insurance for your condition, because there's so many different types.
Mhm.
So just ask questions. That is my advice. That's what I'm seeing, and that's the advice that I give all of them. Ask questions.
So,
And call you,
mhm. And what?
and call you, and call Dr. Duncan.
Definitely. Ask questions to Dr. Duncan.
And so let me just ask you, why, just real briefly, I want, you two or one of you to answer the questions. Why should we seek you out when we come to Panama? What makes you different? How do you set yourself apart from other doctors and urgent care centers in Panama City?
Well, if I could chime in on that real quick. First of all, we're the first company that's really kind of focused on care for expats. We provide medical care for everybody, but we, focus on providing, a great experience for expats that come here and, need to get set up, don't speak Spanish. So that's one reason. Great customer service. You either get myself or someone else that's going to get you set up. And most importantly, our doctors. We have some of the best physicians and doctors in Panama, including Dr. Duncan. So, I mean, there are a lot of reasons to come to us, but we love what we do, and we're here to help. So do not hesitate to get in touch with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you say, Dr. D?
And that was our focal points from the beginning. When we started thinking about the clinic, that we wanted to make something oriented to preventive health, help expats. There was nothing like it. I don't think there's nothing like our model of dedication.
Mhm.
And we have dedicated years of our lives just tinkering with the experience, making it the best experience. And we definitely, with each consultation, with each patient, we get a little bit more information and we try to adapt it and make it a little bit better. So that's our drive, but just being the best on that particular service.
That's what's
Yeah,
up.
we've been able to build what we're doing over 10 years. Not even opening, not even really thinking like, okay, we need we need to do this for expats. It just kind of happened naturally because people would find us, they find out about Dr. Duncan, and it's just this service that we built up. And then, over the last few years, especially with COVID, we've just been able to really kind of provide a great service for expats, and we've had good word of mouth and good references, and it's been a great experience, and we like I said, we love what we do, and I think that's the most important thing.
And I think the other side of that is that the expat community is growing quickly.
Yeah.
So there are more and more expats coming to Panama, and as far as US, the US and Canada, most of our people on our tours are from the US and Canada. That people are going all over. So, I think that's the other good piece of that. So I appreciate everybody coming on. I want to give you the opportunity to have, if you have a parting advice or something that you would like to say, if you'd like to give your contact information or how people can follow you if you want to. Can we just do that real quick? And then we'll close it out. Annette.
Well, my only closing comments are, when you don't feel good, make sure you take yourself to the doctor. Don't hesitate, because we can catch or get anything because our bodies are not immune to Panama. So it's something totally different.
Mm.
And our bodies, you know, they work different because we have 4 seasons in most places in the US compared to here. So even for me, allergies. So I went to the doctor. So go to the doctor. If you feel a little something off, just go to the doctor. Promise you, you'll be glad you did.
Yeah, that's good advice, and I hadn't really thought about that. But I know when I go from climate to climate, like I came back from Cartagena and I had a cold for 2 weeks. I think from just the climate change, so there might be something to that. Thank you so much for that. How about you, Big Will? Big Will.
Thank you, Hermana. So look, if you're thinking about coming to Panama, don't let healthcare be what's stopping you from moving forward. It's here, it's accessible, it's easy to get, and we all have had pretty good experiences with it, I think. For those people that want to follow me, you can find me on Facebook at Big Will TV, and the YouTube channel is at Big Will TV at YouTube. So by all means, come on by, and thanks for the support.
Can they get that shirt?
As a matter of fact, they can. The shop is available. Thank you so much. Thank you. I forgot all about that. Yes, the merchandise shop is available.
I ordered a pink one, but it wasn't that one. I didn't see that one.
This is the big boy shirt.
That's,
you didn't see the logo?
Yeah, no, it was the other logo, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to getting in. I'm so happy that you have your store and your merchandise, and you are just growing up. I mean, my goodness.
Thank you.
How about you, Aish?
Just in summary, I feel totally spoiled here with healthcare. I would say because of Claudia's experience, I definitely have a fund put aside just for an emergency.
Yes.
It's like an oh crap fund, just for healthcare, and that's something I learned from her. So I would advise that. If you want to follow me in my journey, I have a YouTube channel. It's at Abroadability. I also have a merch line as well.
It's pretty.
Thank you. It kind of matches the scenery.
I mean to tell you, you showing off with that scenery. My radio fans, y'all will have to see the video when it comes out. She is just deliberately showing off.
But yeah, that was it. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Okay, thank you for being on. And what you said that about the fund, I said, people come and like Mike was saying, they hear that, the medical care is cheap, and 2 things, how cheap is cheap? That's all relative, right? And the other thing is cheap doesn't mean that it's not quality. But the other thing is that when you start talking about major stuff, it can be significant. So if you leave your insurance back home, you figure, okay, most people paying at least $400 a month for insurance back home. If I was coming somewhere where I didn't have that insurance backup anymore, I think that in budgeting before you leave and make that move, if that's your situation, figure out what it's going to cost you to get local insurance and making sure that you can. And then the other thing would be have yourself a fund. And I would just call it a medical emergency fund. And just even if you said, okay, if my health insurance, it was $400 in the States, maybe I'll just say $200 a month, out of my budget for medical emergencies. Just something so that you're not caught, because we don't know what the repercussions are if you don't have money to pay. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Can y'all tell me, Mike, would Panama turn you away if you didn't have money to pay, or send you to like the free public hospital? There's a free public hospital, right?
That's a good point. Most of the private hospitals here will require proof of payment, or they don't necessarily turn you away. They direct you to a public hospital. Mm-hmm. So, in most cases when it's urgent, you would rather get care at a private hospital. So it's a really good point. I mean, your primary care, you're going to be able to pay that out of pocket without any issues. very affordable. But when it comes to urgent care, medical emergencies, similar to Claudia's experience, it can, the cost can really add up. So that's why it's important to have a plan, whether it's insurance or a fund for that. Super important. Really good point. And no, that's another reason to really look into insurance before you get to Panama.
Yes, yes. And since you're talking, you could tell us how to find you if you want to give any, further parting words.
Definitely. You can find us, our website is www.expathealthservices.com and panamedica.com. So Panamedica is the website for our clinic. We are on Facebook at Expat Health Services and Panamedica. So you can find both online and on Facebook. And you can always contact us directly. I don't know if you will provide our WhatsApp.
I will provide that on both when I publish on both radio and video.
Perfect.
And then you can always, Dr. Duncan and Mike, you can always, find them through me if you need their contact information as well. So thank you, Mike, for that. And
Big Will, I want my shirt. I want my shirt, please. I'm coming for my shirt from Big Will.
I got one for you, Doc. I got one for you, Mike.
All right.
Yes. And Mike,
hold it for me.
I was thinking we could do your inauguration on the 2nd. If you're going to be at the clinic, your BEIP decal inauguration.
Let's do it. Sounds great.
Let's do it, baby.
Sure.
So,
Right.
So we are just making moves out here in Panama. So, Dr. Duncan, and I always, Dr. Duncan hates when I have the mic because he like, oh Lord, what's Charlotte gonna say now? But Dr. Duncan is like one of my favorite dudes. He comes and, the girls had his big joke the first time he came, and they was like, I feel sick. Like they needed care right away when they saw him, right? But the one thing that I love about Dr. Duncan is that he comes to as many of our reception dinners as he can, but baby, if it's Friday, that's date night. He ain't fooling with us. So he let you know right off the bat. I might be able to make it, but if it's Friday, it's a no-go. And I love that because I just find that to be so prevalent and more common with high-level professionals in Panama, much more so than I find with high-level professionals in the United States. It's like there is this family first, culture here that I just absolutely love. So I love messing with you. And I appreciate the care that you give our clients. Michelle, I noticed she came to see you too the other day, and she was like, oh my God, I feel so much better. So thank you, Dr. D. And then Dr. D don't try to push medicine on you so hard. That's the other thing I like about you is that you educate, and education is not always about prescriptions. And one thing that I do not like about the medical profession in the United States is I don't think that doctors are taught to treat. I think doctors are taught to prescribe. And it's always the things that doctors have tried to give me. I'm just like, I'm not taking that. You know what I'm saying? I have one, he tried to give me an inhaler. I said, look, I ain't got enough room in my purse for no damn inhaler. You're not giving me no inhaler. I try to give me an inhaler. I mean, don't you get hooked on those things? I mean, can't your system get to where it needs it? Need that mess. Anyway, Dr. D, what's your parting words for us?
In regard of what you were saying, as long as the patient know the part that they play on their health, that it's a win-win situation. Whenever you can educate, explain the situation they're going through and the part that they play on getting healthy, not only taking their medications every day, just exercise, diet, healthy sleeping hours, drinking, water, just relaxing. It's a lifestyle, completely a different lifestyle. If you can integrate that in a patient, then they'll know and the treatment will go super smooth, and it is going to be a win-win situation for all of us. So thank you very much. I always enjoy when you take time to invite us to this event, and hopefully there's much more of this in the near future.
Yes, of course. And I truly definitely recommend and endorse you guys. And that's why I have you on, because we go out of our way to find high-level professionals to treat our Black expats in Panama, because we deserve the best, baby. Okay? So
Okay.
listen, that's all the time that I have. Matter of fact, I'm overtime. Y'all know how that go, but I appreciate every single one of you for taking the time out. I know it's hard getting our schedules together, but we did it, y'all. And I know that this roundtable is going to be super, super beneficial to someone else. And so I'm going to do something a little different. I usually do an individual close out of my show, but I'm just going to go ahead and close it out right now. So listen, it's been real. This is Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama, by way of Glassboro, New Jersey. You know it, right here on BLAXITradio.com. I'm signing off for the day. And guess what? I'll see you guys next week. In the meantime, you know what's up. I love you. I love you. I love you. And there is just absolutely nothing you could do about it. Peace. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.